All right, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise and glory is unto Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai, by Hashem, Harakakudash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at the great millstone. Greetings, salutations, and blessings unto the elect. It's the brother Shaquat from the Las Vegas camp, and I have another Physicians of video, and we're gonna get into digestion. Okay, and also this is a video that is analogetical, okay, um, for understanding as well. So we're going to touch on that a bit as well, okay, just a touch. But I'll start here in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter, which says, "Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest, eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll." Okay, and he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. Okay, and as Ezekiel was writing this, and the Spirit came onto him, you have to understand that he was telling him to read and understand the Bible. There were scrolls or rolls back then, but it was the Bible, the wisdom of the Bible. He was told to eat it, and it says, where did it go? Eat that roll. Yeah. Where is that part of it I like? He told him, eat what thou findest. See if it's upon this. Eat that I give thee. Yeah, let me go to the second, Ezekiel chapter 2. And he said, verse 7, 2 and 7 says, "And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But thou, son of man, hear what I say unto thee. Be not thou rebellious like that rebellious house. Open thy mouth and eat that I give thee." And what is that? What you're able to understand and interpret. Okay? But we're going to go into a literal form of digestion as well. Okay? But let's go to this first. And matter of fact, let me go back. We're going to jump down. I'm going to read verse 3 again, then I'm going to jump down. It said, "And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness." And a lot of times when we come into this thing, and we hear it, and we're understanding it, it's like, oh, this is it. This is what it is. This is the best thing ever. You know, you're eating it, and it's delicious. But then then when you read down, I'm gonna just read it. It says, and he said unto me, Son of man, go get unto thee unto the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not too many people of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto me. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their forehead. As an adamant harder than flint, have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I shall speak unto thee receive in thine heart, and hear with thine ears. And go get thee to them of the captivity, and to the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear. Verse 12. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of a great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of the Lord Yahweh from his place. Okay. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and the noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. Yeah, we still go out. Okay, and we teach this what we understand, what we're able to digest. Okay, so let me go to Revelation, then I'll go back up onto Revelation 10. Because I was doing this, using these scripts not long ago. The bitter and the sweet. It says, verse 9, it says, and I went unto the angel, and he said unto him, Give me the little book. And he said unto me, Take it and eat it up. Meaning, that's the same analogy of eating with digestion, okay? But it's taught about understanding. And it shall make thy belly bitter, but it shall be in thy mouth sweet as honey. Okay, and it says, And I took the little book out of the angel's hand and ate it up, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey, but as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. Okay, and that also goes to the balance of digestion. Okay, the balance of digestion, you need some sweet and you need some bitter. You need some salty and you need some sour. Okay, that's the balance. Okay, that's the balance. You need that for proper digestion. Okay, and well, I'll do this now. On the left here, I googled natural foods that aid digestion. Okay, and before I get that, I did want to go to Proverbs. I'm a little all over the place, but bear with me. It'll tie all in a moment. Yep. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 5. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. That's all about wisdom. Verse 7, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. So with all thy eating, all that the Lord giveth thou, the entire roll, you still have to digest. You still have to understand. Okay? Which also goes for when you literally eat. This is just a wise understanding. When you literally eat, you have to eat with wisdom. That don't mean just pack in, 20 pounds of meat or whatever, or 2 pounds of meat or whatever, and just keep filling your stomach with meat and bread. Okay, you still have to have the other balance of food in there, the starches, the dairy, the vegetables and fruits to have proper digestion. Okay, and the scriptures, and this is also something that the scriptures don't shy away from. The scriptures get into this. Okay, but before we get that, I want to show this. Okay, natural foods that aid digestion. A lot of our people have issues with digestion. Okay, so sometimes, even though the scriptures I just read were talking about the word and understanding the word, it doesn't change from the analogy that was given, that you can learn something from that analogy. Okay, about balance of food and digestion. Okay, things that help the body to digest. And look what's in here. You can click on any of these, and they're going to give you lots of things that'll be beneficial to you. Now, there was one that I saw that I wanted to. This is the one. How could I improve my digestion naturally? Okay, here are 11 evidence-based ways to improve your digestion naturally. Eat real foods. So don't eat candy or artificial foods. Try to eat the actual natural foods, organic or whatever. Okay? It says get plenty of fiber. Okay? Plenty of fiber to help you move things around and digest. And a lot of times people will drink a lot of juice, but when you drink, say, apple juice, orange juice, or whatever, it has some of it in there, but it doesn't have the proper balance of digestion foods such as fiber within it. Okay, the natural fruit versus just the juice, because you'll drink 2 glasses of 2 8-ounce glasses of orange juice or apple juice, and you'll get all that acid and all that sugar, but you're not getting any of the fiber or enough of the vitamin C. Okay, you might get plenty of vitamin C, but you're not getting the full range of what the natural fruit will give you. Okay, chances are 2 glasses of orange juice is probably 2 or 3 oranges, at least. Sometimes 3 or 4 oranges, depending on the type of oranges. Well, I doubt you're going to eat 4 full oranges, but you're going to be better filled with the digestion and the fiber that's also in that. Okay, it says add healthy fats to your diet. Okay, stay hydrated. That's huge. Stay hydrated. How do you stay hydrated? With water. Okay, all of this can go right into the scriptures analogetically, if thou canst tell. All right, it says eat mindfully. Yeah, don't just eat like a crazed maniac for food. Don't just eat like that, like a ravenous beast. Okay, be mindful, and be mindful of what you're eating. Chew your food. Here's a huge one. Chew your food. Another one, a side note, is this physician, a Moabite physician lady that I spoke with. She actually told me, I was talking to my mother, to pass the advice to my mother, that try to eat without talking. A lot of times people will hurry up and swallow so they can finish what they're saying, and not understanding that you need to chew your food properly so it goes in there and it's easier to break down and digest. Okay, and it says get moving, and that a form of your metabolism that keeps the organs in your body and the digestive system in your body moving. Okay, it releases the acids that need to break down the food in your stomach. It moves all the things through the liver and through the intestines and so on and so forth that help get it to the digestive stage where the nutrients can be put in and absorbed into your body, and the waste can be pushed out. Okay, but when you go into what I was looking at, these images, I mean, they have all types of foods. You see fruits and beans and dairy, which is a good fat, beets, and that one mint, turmeric, banana. Okay. Effective detox foods. There's all types of pickled veggies. Okay, what is pickled veggies? It has a lot of vinegar in it. Okay, the vinegar in that is also a bitter that helps with digestion. Okay, ginger is on the list. Worst foods for digestion, and I'm scared to click on that. I don't even want to promote that, but I bet on that list is foods of what a lot of people eat. A lot of us, and even myself, will be cut to know that a lot of the foods we eat are probably on that list. So there's a bunch of different things, and I challenge you to go and look these things up for yourself and try to implement them in there. And also, this beautiful thing about the internet and YouTube and Google is that you can Google these foods. You know, Google what's good for digestive health or whatever ailments that may be ailing you, and find out what they are, and then jot them down on a list, and then Google recipes with those foods, different ways to cook those foods. Okay. What does that say? Fruit combinations for better digestion. Right? There's plenty of these in here. Let me see. I'm gonna click on this one. Let's see what we get out of that. I'll leave that up right there as I go through the rest of the video. Alright. So it says we're done there in Proverbs. So let's go to Daniel, the first chapter. That's what I want. Because, matter of fact, what don't you see on this list here? I'm going to go back and see if I could go on the worst foods for digestion real quick. Worst foods for digestion. Look what they show. Bread, meat, fish. They got that whole thing there, but let's see if we can. They show worst foods for the belly and best foods for the belly. Worst foods are processed meat. Let's take a look how good that is. They probably got some ham or something over there. Sausage. Okay, processed meat, fried foodstuffs, potato chips, wow, yeast from gluten, dairy. Okay, versus the best, yogurt, lentils, fermented foods, fermented having the natural bacteria in it. Okay, that come from the fermenting process. Nuts and seeds, fruits. Okay. See what they have in good digestive health. Burn fat. Look, there's all types of stuff on here. All right. Not a very difficult. Not real difficult. Okay, not very difficult to Google and find out, and then to begin to implement this into your daily life. They're bad for digestion. Oh yeah. Look, my favorite shit: fried chicken and French fries. It says 7 of the worst and best foods for digestion. It shows you right there. All right, so I'm going to leave that there because that's actually a pretty good one. And I'll get right there to Daniel, the first chapter. I think it's around 7 or 8. 8 chapter. Yep. I'm going to start up. Let me see. Okay, I'm going to start here, Daniel 1 and 4, and I'm going to jump down. It says, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science. Okay, in understanding science, and such as have ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. Some of our people have the wisdom to be professors or educators, so to speak. Okay? And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Okay? Now I'm going to jump ahead to verse 8. It says, but Daniel proposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the princes of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now the Most High had brought Daniel in favor and tender love with the princes of the eunuchs, and the prince of the eunuchs, and the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink, for why should he see your faces worse likening than the children that are of your sort, with the other people that are on your level, right? It says, then shall he make me endanger my head to the king. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs has set over Daniel, and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. So I should go into that. Let me get it. Okay, here it is. Pulse, H2235. It says
Strong's H2235. Zeroim. Zeroim.
yes.
And the form just below that, Zereonim. Zereonim.
Yeah, okay, sure. It says Strong's info, something sown, i.e. a vegetable as food. Pulse. Okay, vegetables. Okay, Chaldees, vegetables, herbs. Let's blow that up. Vegetable herbs, vegetable food, such as eaten in a half fast. Okay, in a half fast. Okay, opposed to flesh and more delicate foods. Okay, so that's what you would eat instead. Okay, and that's what Daniel was saying. Give us pulse to eat instead of the king's meat and water to drink. Okay, because when you drink an excess of alcohol, that alcohol dehydrates you. Okay, thus when you went to that list, thus drying you out. Okay, and this is the same thing when you get the understanding of these scriptures. When you drink milk, milk is all the nourishment. You know, the easy stuff of the scriptures, the milk, the basics. That hydrates you and as well as nourishes you. But then you want something a little bit more. So now you want water, something to refresh you. Okay, and that's another level of understanding. Something that's refreshing. It's good to hear salvation and all of this and that. Not just who we are, but salvation and so on and so forth. Other breakdowns, and then a little bit of bread for some substance on your stomach, and then meat when you get to a certain age. But you got to eat them in proper measure. And wine is another one of different philosophies to put together. But if you eat bread, meat, and wine too much, you can vomit it up, man. You can become righteous over much. You can become depleted, so to speak. Like you'll eat so much that now you're done. You can really hurt yourself. You can fall out the truth because you have those basic. You don't have those basic milk foundation that you need to understand the big picture when you go into the meat, the milk, and the wine levels of the scriptures. Okay, so you want to always resort back and have a steady diet, if you will, of water and vegetables, or the basics, or the foundation, or the milk. Okay, but literally, when you eat, you still need that amount in your food. That's why the analogy of the scriptures is so wonderful. It's so beautiful the way they're put together. Okay, verse 13, it says, let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. Okay, so he consented them in the matter and proved them 10 days. So they're doing an experiment for 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenances appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Okay, thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. Okay, and gave them the nourishing parts of the food, the better things for better digestion. Okay, and from there I want to go to what else was I thinking? Oh yeah, 1 Timothy. What am I thinking? 1 Timothy. This is a beautiful scripture here. 1 Timothy chapter 5. I'm gonna start at the top. Yeah, that's true. Yep. further down. Let me see. Yep. Verse 23. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities. And that bringing that analogy home of the different levels of the scriptures and the different levels of foods and their amounts. Yeah, you have says drink no longer water. Don't only just drink water. Every once in a while, have something a little stronger. You know, it says for thine often infirmities, for thy stomach's sake, to help your digestion, for thy stomach's sake. You know, for the sake of your understanding. When it said the belly became bitter, okay, in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter, and in Revelation the 10th chapter, it's good to have a drink of wine every once in a while to help your stomach's sake and to help cheer up your countenance, so you're not so bitter when dealing with the ways of the world. Because in Ezekiel, in Ecclesiastes the 7th chapter, let me get it, and I'll come right back. You see, verse 7, it says, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. And another word for that is bitter. Okay? It makes you bitter. And when you go into the Italian word for bitter, it's amargo, which the name of the sailor, conqueror, conquester, if you will, Amargo Vespucci, who the word America was built after, named after. That's where it comes from. So America, rooted in the name of it, is bitter, and this has been bitter for the children of Israel. Okay, it has been bitter. This place is bitter. All types of contradictions and weird speech, double tongues and so on and so forth, and just crazy ways of thinking coming out of this place. All right, so let's go back into 1 Timothy the 5th chapter. No, it's 23. It says, drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities. And when you go deeper into some of these philosophies that are within the scriptures, the righteous philosophies, it'll show you how to heal yourself. It'll show you a little bit of tidbit that'll spark you and get you more on fire, okay, for this word, to teach another higher level of something instead of just humdrum repetitive milk breakdowns, okay. And sometimes you'll add a little bit of that strong meat and wine, to spice up, if you will, your breakdowns and your videos, okay, to your understanding even. All right, so from there, I did find an article. Let me get it. All right, and this is from Wine Spectator. It's in the news. It says red wine helps kickstart good digestion. Okay, Portuguese study finds the beverage triggers chemical reactions inside your stomach. Okay, how beautiful are the scriptures. It said red wine not only goes well with a nice meal, it helps the stomach convert potentially harmful chemicals into less dangerous molecules before they're circulated in the body. According to a new study slated to be published in an upcoming journal of toxicology, it says a team of Portuguese researchers found that specific polyphenols in red wine trigger the release of nitric oxide, a chemical that relaxes the stomach wall, helping to optimize digestion. According to co-author Dr. João, Larengina, an associate professor at the Center for Neurosciences and Cell Biology at the University of Coimbra, Portugal. The research bucks current Buck's current theory. Since the 1990s, many researchers have believed that many of wine's observed health benefits are due to the antioxidant properties of polyphenols. Studies have found wine appears to counteract deleterious oxidative injury to the body's molecules and cells, as with chronic inflammatory conditions such as atherosclerosis, a condition in which fatty material collects along the walls of the arteries. Now, what is that saying? It basically flushes out antioxidants, okay, as well as the other digestive qualities that wine has been known. So that's another added benefit to wine, the antioxidants as well as the digestive properties that it brings to you. And so, bringing it back to the scripture, drink no longer water, but use a little wine for thy stomach's sake and thine often infirmities. It said the what did it say? The injury. Where did the part go? Yeah. Oxidative injury to the body's molecules and cells. It counteracts that. Okay, deleterious, I think that removes them. Oxidative injury to the body's molecule and cells. So it repairs the cells. It helps get rid of the bad cells and build new cells in your body. And that was a study from the 90s. Okay, if you ever notice, if you have say you have a bruise or something, and you drink wine, a glass or so, hey, it takes your mind, so to speak, off the wine, but it makes your body feel better. Okay, not be as sore and as achy. Okay, and when you get older, yeah. Anyway, many of the studies suggest that people would need to consume impossibly large amounts of red wine in order to see any antioxidant benefit, because polyphenols are extensively metabolized during absorption in the intestines, and said the doctor. Estimate range anywhere from a couple of bottles per day to 10,000 per week. That's a lot, but the digestive qualities are still there. All right. Let me go to what did I have? Sirach. Yep. Sirach. Chapter 31. We'll start around, I believe, there. Yep. Let's see if this has any other good information. Yep. But an earlier study by the same team and published in Free Radical Biology and Medicine in 2008 found that red wine's benefits may begin before it reaches the intestine. We started to check for beneficial effects occurring before the absorption phase, that is in the stomach, the same doctor said. Overall, the observations of the current study suggest a new pathway for the health benefits of wine, ethanol, and polyphenols in humans, beyond antioxidant activity via production of nitric oxide, which we broke that down. It says, while in large doses nitric oxide is a pollutant, in smaller amounts it can dilate arteries, helping blood flow. It opens you up. Your heart starts pumping more, right? It says it also has the ability to relax the walls of the stomach, allowing nutrients to pass more freely into the bloodstream. In the earlier study, Larangina, hey, that's what I'm calling it, and his team noted that red wine showed a higher level of another chemical called ethyl nitrate when compared to non-alcoholic beverages and brandy. Ethyl nitrate, they found, reacts with potentially harmful free radicals called nitrates or nitrites by chemically converting the molecules into nitric oxide. Nitrates are found in salty and processed meats and can react poorly in the body, forming carcinogens. Okay, if left in your body alone, those unhelpful, underdigested foods that have a struggle to break down. Okay, so you can see where this is going. It says, for the current research, the Portuguese researchers use samples of various red wine polyphenols such as catechin, epicacetin, quercetin, which are also found abundantly in apples, berries, and onions. Those digestive foods that we looked at on the effective natural digestive that help the digestion. To test these polyphenols, reduce the levels of nitrates in the stomach. To test if these polyphenols reduce the levels of nitrites in the stomach, the scientists examined the combined effect on preserved rodent gastric strips and on a sample of synthetic stomach acid. After 60 minutes of being exposed to the polyphenols, the stomach strips relaxed and the acid showed higher levels of ethyl nitrite. Taking it one step further, they recruited 6 healthy volunteers to eat a serving of lettuce, which is known to reduce nitrites in the stomach, then served them red wine. After 60 minutes, the participants would regurgitate into airtight containers so the contents could be examined. The scientists also found high levels of nitric oxide in the stomach acid. Okay, both major components of red wine, the polyphenols and the ethanol, may induce beneficial effects via production of nitric oxide, said Laurangina. Mechanistically, the polyphenols reduce the nitrites consumed in the diet into nitric oxide in the stomach, and the ethanol reacts with nitrite and derived species in the stomach, yielding a new molecule, ethyl nitrite, that releases the nitric oxide. Okay, and how does that correlate to the digestion of the scriptures? When you go into the deeper studies to break down the philosophies of the wine level, of the meat level, and of the bread level, you go through the milk, but it helps you to break down and understand the higher levels. Okay, basically making you better understand the big picture of it all. All right, when you go into the deeper levels, you now have to go into like this lesson, for example. Going into wine, it shows you how your diet can help you overall, your body, the nutrients, the rest, so on and so forth. And that's what I'm getting into now from Sirach 31. It says, and this is going to give you a lot of understanding, just this chapter alone. But we're starting at the 19th verse all the way to the end. I'm gonna read through it, and a lot of wisdom. It says, this verse 19 in Sirach 31. It says, a very little is sufficient for a man well nurtured, and he fetcheth not his wind short upon his bed. That's the snoring part, okay? Sound sleep cometh of moderate eating. He riseth early, and his wits are with him. He can get up early, because the digestion process, if you notice, Jake eats these itis foods, particularly you Negroes that went through the slavery, that have the slave master diet. Okay, the slave diet, I should say. Okay, said he riseth early, and his wits are with him. Yeah, you can think straight. You wake up and you're energetic. You're full of energy, and you're ready to get on to your day. But when you eat with a lot of processed foods and a lot of meats and breads and gluten and so on and so forth, it slows you down. You feel groggy. You need coffee and all this caffeine and whatever else. It says, but the pain of watching and choler and pangs of the belly are with an insatiable man. When you don't have insatiable means cannot be satisfied. Okay, when you're unsatisfied, and when you eat and you don't have that full heavy belly of eating so much bread, meat, starches, and so forth, a lot of people don't feel full. Well, you're not supposed to eat till you're full. You're supposed to eat till you're not hungry. Okay. It says, and if thou hast been forced to eat, arise, go forth, vomit, and thou shalt have rest. You got to get some of that food out your stomach. Okay, you got to spit some of that up. And that's not to say to become bulimic. That's supposed to get some of that up out of your stomach so you have space where your body can rest and truly start that digestive process that usually happens mostly when you eat. When you sleep. Okay? It says, my son, hear me and despise me not. And at the last thou shalt find, as I told thee, in all thy works be quick, so shall there no sickness come upon thee. Whoso, this is the other part here, whoso is liberal with his meat, men shall speak well of him, and the report of his good housekeeping will be believed. You ain't greedy. But against him that is a niggard of his meat, and niggard is stingy of his meat, want to just covet everything to himself, hoard it all to himself, of his meat, the whole city shall murmur, and the testimonies of his niggardness shall not be doubted of. Okay? When you're stingy, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I gotta eat. Okay? I don't care who else hasn't eaten yet. That mentality, the Lord doesn't look well upon that mentality. It says, now here's when we're talking about wine. Here's a balance of it. Okay? In 25, it says, show not thy valiantness in wine, for wine have destroyed many. And when you go into First Esdras, the third chapter, I believe it's in the third chapter, it talks about how powerful wine can be, because it makes all men on the same level. The king and the servant, if they are able to drink wine, they become on the same level. Okay, it makes everybody calm and relaxed and everything. It's a beautiful chapter to read. I'm not going to go into this lesson here. It says, for wine have destroyed many. The furnace proves the edge by dipping. So do wine the hearts of the proud by drunkenness. Yeah, if you're trying to be a tough guy, man, this thing is not about being a tough guy. It's actually to calm you down. When you read the old stories and see old movies of those ancient days where men went out to war and they came in, they had wine, they had a woman rubbing them down because they were sore from war. Okay? But you don't have to prove your might or your valiantness when you get tough. And that shows the immaturity or the lack of understanding a lot of younger men may have. If they come to this thing and we have the occasions where, there's wine and food and so on and so forth, or we're just fellowshipping and men just continually drink above their measure till they begin to rage. Let's see, verse 30 is gonna say it. I'll jump down to 30 right quick. Drunkenness increases the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminishes strength and maketh wounds. Okay, and that's what we're not trying to do. We're trying to keep a sound mind. When you go into Proverbs 31, it tells you when to give strong drink of them that are ready to perish, and wine that be of those of heavy hearts. Okay. Verse 27, it says, a wine is as good as life to a man if it be drunken moderately. What is life then to a man that is without wine? For it was made to make men glad. It's meant to cheer you up, meant to make you feel better. Okay? Wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind. Okay? And that's what you want to have. Cheerful. You want to be upbeat and cheerful. Okay? A lot of times you'll see Jake out there drinking that Hennessy, that heavy brown, and or whatever other drink they drink until they mixing drinks and doing all kinds of stuff, throwing up. Especially here in Vegas, you can see all of that. All right, but when you drink the right amount, hey man, your night goes beautifully and smooth. Okay, and like I said above earlier, the proper amount, and it'll prove that you're well nurtured. You don't have to go that far. Okay. Anyway, it says 29. But wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind. You hear that? The bitterness of the mind. With brawling and quarreling. Okay, man, you touch on somebody and realize they push you back and you don't feel it because your body's feeling good and it's numb and you're like, oh, I feel good and I feel strong. And then men want to start getting rough and start roughhousing. It says, 29 again, but wine drunken with excess maketh bitterness of the mind with brawling and quarreling. Yeah, and when you drink too much, or if you try to understand that wine level too much and you have too much in your system, trying to go into the deepest mysteries of the Bible, hey man, that's gonna bug you out. What it's gonna do is gonna have you going so deep that you're gonna forget the basics and you're gonna be thinking, oh, the earth is flat. You know, that's why the wine grapes grow this. You know, just crazy bugged out doctrines. You're gonna forget the basics, and then the purpose of what we're studying this Bible for, what we're teaching this Bible, the messages that we're pushing out, which at the end of the day is about salvation, okay, and honoring and praising the names of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, it said drunkenness increases the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds. Okay, yeah, people fall and hurt themselves. You don't have the same strength. You don't have the same concentration. Okay, it can break you down. It says, rebuke not thy neighbor at the wine, and despise him not in his mirth. Give him no despiteful words, and press not upon him with urging him to drink. But don't also force him to drink. Man, have another one. Just kept knowing he's already drunk. Okay, that he's feeling good. Okay. So yeah, to tie this all in, the digestion part is good for your belly, man. You know, to have a drink of wine, to eat better digestive foods. Okay, as well as it's good to every once in a while go into something a little deeper, something that you have to do some research on. That you go in there, and then as you break that down, in some of the darker sayings of the scriptures that you may or may not have understanding on, when you go deeper into it, it forces you to research and go deeper into the milk and foundation scriptures, and then you grow from there and have a better understanding. All in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay, so Lord willing, this was edifying. You know, I'll give all praise and glories unto Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Arok HaKodash, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushua, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushua, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahushua. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Double honors to the apostles and the elders at the great millstone. And greetings, salutations, and blessings on to the elect. To the next one. Shalom.